You've been told to be patient, that good things take time, but let's be honest. How long are you supposed to wait for someone to treat you right? How long do you hold on to potential while ignoring reality? It's not about giving up. It's about letting go of anything that makes you question your worth. There is a massive difference. There's a moment in every high, you woman's life when she realizes she's the prize. Not in a cocky, arrogant way, but in a quiet, undeniable one. That moment isn't loud. It doesn't come with applause. It comes in the silence after a text you no longer feel the need to reply to. In the moment you stop checking their social media. In the breath you take when you finally choose peace over answers. Too many people confuse chemistry with compatibility. You feel a spark, and suddenly your brain is writing a story that hasn't even begun. You imagine their potential, their growth, their future, but ignore the present version of them standing right in front of you. And what does that version tell you? Are they consistent? Are they clear? Are they actually ready for the kind of love you're willing to give? The problem isn't that you love too much. It's that you love without boundaries. You give second chances to people who haven't earned them. You show loyalty to someone who hasn't even shown clarity. And while your empathy is your superpower, it's not meant to excuse someone else's inability to meet you where you are. You've been over-explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding it. You've been shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's limited capacity. You've been calling it holding on, when it's really just not letting go. And for what? A text at midnight, a vague compliment when they sense you're pulling away, a promise that never turns into effort. Let's be honest, effort isn't love. Presence isn't presence unless it's intentional. If someone wanted to be with you, they would. No confusion, no delay, no breadcrumbing. They would be clear, because someone who values you isn't trying to keep their options open. They're trying to lock in. When you raise your standards, people will call you difficult. When you create boundaries, they'll say you've changed. And they'll be right. You have, because you finally realized that love doesn't require you to lose yourself, that being chosen shouldn't cost you your dignity, that begging for clarity is a sign you've outgrown the conversation. The strongest thing you'll ever do is walk away without closure, to accept that someone will never give you the apology, the explanation, or the honesty you deserved, and that strength, that's your healing. Because closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you deciding you deserve better. You deserve someone who doesn't make you overthink, who doesn't keep you guessing, who doesn't turn every conversation into a power struggle. You deserve to be met with peace, not patterns, with consistency, not confusion, with presence, not potential. You don't fall in love with words anymore. You fall in love with actions, with effort, with someone who doesn't need to be reminded what it takes to keep you. You're done being impressed by the bare minimum. You've raised the bar, not to be intimidating, but because you finally respect yourself enough not to settle. They'll say you're too much, too intense, too emotional, but what they really mean is you can't be manipulated. You're not moved by hot and cold behavior. You're not addicted to inconsistency. You're not willing to lose sleep over someone who doesn't even know what they want. And that's your power. You've cried enough over people who didn't even deserve your silence. You've stayed too long in places where love had already left. You've tried to fix what wasn't yours to fix. You've exhausted yourself proving your loyalty to people who didn't even show up. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone closure. You don't owe anyone another chance to disappoint you. You don't need to hold the door open for someone who walked out and only wants back in when they feel your absence. Your energy is expensive. Not everyone gets access to it anymore. Let go of the fantasy. Stop romanticizing inconsistency. Stop calling it love when it's anxiety. You weren't in love. You were in a cycle of hope, disappointment, and recovery. You weren't wrong for loving deeply. You were just loving someone incapable of matching your depth. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person. The right one will show up with clarity, not games, with consistency, not chaos, with effort, not excuses. And until that person arrives, your job is simple. Protect your peace, protect your energy, and protect your heart from situations that keep breaking it. Healing is not pretending it didn't hurt. It's acknowledging the pain and choosing to grow anyway. It's waking up one day and realizing you're not angry anymore. You're just done, not bitter, just better, not closed off, just more selective. Your time is your currency. Be mindful of who you spend it on. Your love is a gift. Be intentional about who receives it. And your presence is powerful. Don't let anyone make you feel like it's optional. The way you love yourself sets the tone for how others will love you. And if you keep abandoning yourself for temporary comfort, you'll keep attracting people who do the same. Every time you ignore your intuition, you train yourself to tolerate the very thing that's draining you. But today, you change that. Today, you listen. You listen when something feels off. You trust your gut instead of waiting for proof. You stop giving people multiple chances to show you the same red flag in a different color. You stop mistaking someone's potential for their pattern. You deserve a love that's safe, that doesn't trigger your fight or flight, that doesn't leave you questioning your sanity, that doesn't disappear when things get real. You deserve a partner, not a project, someone who sees you, hears you, and meets you, and until you meet them, you choose you every day, every decision, every step forward. You choose peace over panic, truth over illusion, alignment over attention, because the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything shifts. That's when the right people find you. That's when you become magnetic, not because you're doing more, but because you're doing less of what drains you. You're no longer begging, you're not performing, you're not adjusting your crown just to be tolerated. You wear it proudly, you sit in your power, and from that place you attract everything meant for you. No more convincing someone to love you. No more waiting for them to choose you. You're not here to audition for anyone's affection. You're not here to earn basic respect. You are the standard, and if they can't rise to meet you, they fall behind. You're done explaining yourself to people who never took the time to understand you. You're done proving your loyalty to people who were never all in. You're done being the one who always reaches out, always apologizes, always tries to keep the connection alive. If someone wanted to keep you, they would have acted like it. You're not hard to love. You're just not settling for people who love halfway. Your energy is not confusing. It's just not available to people who don't respect it. Your boundaries aren't harsh. They are necessary. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear, clear about what you want, clear about what you will and won't tolerate, clear about your non-negotiables. Because once you become clear, everything that's not aligned will naturally fall away. And yes, it will feel lonely sometimes. Growth always does. But temporary loneliness is better than permanent confusion. And once you've tasted peace, chaos will never feel like home again. You are stepping into your power, into a version of you that doesn't settle, that doesn't shrink, that doesn't apologize for wanting more, that doesn't chase closure from people incapable of giving it. You are stepping into the woman who is not afraid to say, "This no longer serves me," because once you say that, your standards rise, your confidence deepens. Your circle tightens, your energy shifts, and suddenly you're not attracting people who want to waste your time. You're attracting people who value it. There's nothing wrong with having a big heart. But there is something wrong with giving that heart to people who only show up when it's convenient. If someone only reaches for you when they're lonely, that's not connection. It's access. And the truth is, not everyone who has access to you should still have it. People will test you, not always intentionally, but they will. They'll want to know if you're really serious about the boundaries you set. They'll see if you mean what you say, or if your words are just empty threats disguised as strength. And in those moments, your silence will say more than any explanation ever could. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to warn people that you're leveling up. You just do it, quietly, intentionally, with grace, and before long, They'll look up and realize they can't reach you in the same way they used to. That's not arrogance, that's elevation. Every time you choose your peace over proving a point, you win. Every time you walk away from a situation instead of forcing it to be something it's not, you align. And every time you stop begging for love that should have been freely given, you heal. Healing isn't a straight line. Sometimes you'll miss them, not because they were right for you, but because you were willing to love them in ways they didn't even love themselves. Sometimes you'll remember the good times and forget the red flags. That's okay, that's human. What matters is what you choose next, because healing means choosing yourself over and over again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. It means creating space where you used to fill the silence with someone else's excuses. It means choosing solitude over shaky connections, clarity over chaos, alignment over attention. The love you crave, it starts with you. The way you show up for yourself becomes the blueprint for the kind of love you'll accept from others. If you abandon yourself in the name of connection, you'll keep attracting people who do the same. But if you hold yourself with respect, care, and devotion, guess what? You'll start drawing people who reflect that back to you. Let this be the season you stop waiting for them to change, waiting for them to realize, waiting for the closure, the apology, the turning point. You don't need another cycle to confirm what your intuition already knows. If they were meant to go with you, they would have grown with you. Some people love the version of you that doesn't know better. That's why they fear your growth. Because when you finally realize your value, their behavior no longer has a place in your life. You become a mirror, not just for their actions, but for everything they refuse to work on. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them wonder why you went quiet, why you're no longer available, why you stopped reaching out. That's not bitterness, it's boundaries. That's not avoidance, it's awareness. You've outgrown the version of you that needed to be chosen by them. Real love doesn't play games. It doesn't disappear to create desire. It doesn't make you question your worth or your sanity. Real love is stable, it's soft, it's sure, and when you meet it, it won't feel like a test. It'll feel like a homecoming, like a calm breath after years of emotional noise. You're not here to chase anyone. You're not here to prove your worth through loyalty to the wrong people. You're not here to wait until they finally see your value. The right person will never need convincing. They'll recognize your energy because it aligns with theirs, no performance needed. It's not your job to fix someone, to teach them how to love you, to tolerate bad behavior just because you see potential. It's your job to protect your peace, to honor your standards, to be so rooted in your worth that nothing and no one can shake you from it. You want someone who chooses you in the light and in the dark. When it's easy and when it's hard, when you're glowing and when you're growing. You want someone who shows up fully, not halfway. Someone who calls you in, not out. Who doesn't just admire your strength, but supports it. And until you find that, you stop entertaining what confuses you, because clarity is love, and anything that creates chronic confusion is not. Let them wonder how they lost you. Let them sit in the silence they created. You don't need to go back and explain your worth to someone who couldn't see it the first time. Their inability to love you properly is not your responsibility to correct. It's your signal to walk. You have to be okay with being misunderstood. With people creating false narratives about why you left, with them calling you cold, when you finally enforce your boundaries, because the people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always frame your growth as betrayal. But that's not your burden to carry. Your only job is to stay aligned with your truth, with your healing, with your vision. You're not the same person you were when you tolerated less. You've evolved. And with that evolution comes loss, but what you lose in chaos you gain in clarity. This version of you knows better. She doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't prove, she attracts, she aligns. She protects, and most importantly, she trusts not just others, but herself. She trusts that what is meant for her will not pass her by, that love doesn't require suffering, that her value is not based on someone else's inability to receive her. Start romanticizing your peace. Protect it the way you used to protect people who were inconsistent. Nourish it the way you used to nourish relationships that were draining. Celebrate it the way you used to celebrate breadcrumbs. Because your peace, that's your power, that's your magnetism, that's your glow, and it will attract everything meant for you without force, fear, or fawning. You've been the rescuer, the healer, the one who always tries. Now it's time to be the one who receives, who is supported, who is held, and that starts when you stop overgiving to the people who only take. They say if you have to choose between being understood or being respected, choose respect. But here's the thing, when you choose yourself, you gain both. The right people will understand you and respect you. The wrong ones will misunderstand you and call it love. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to have high standards. You're allowed to say no without explanation. You're allowed to walk away from people who leave you emotionally bankrupt. You're allowed to take up space, to change your mind, to grow out of connections that no longer feel right. Stop asking for permission to outgrow your past. It's no one else's journey but yours, and anyone who makes you feel guilty for growing is only afraid of being left behind. That's not your problem. That's their wake-up call. You are not responsible for the version of you that others fell in love with. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to say, I don't accept that anymore. And you are allowed to do it without guilt. The strongest decision you'll ever make is choosing yourself in a world that benefits when you doubt yourself. But when you do, you'll become untouchable, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You know who you are, what you deserve, and what you refuse to tolerate, and from that place, everything changes. You attract differently, you respond differently, you navigate dating with discernment, not desperation. You see red flags without trying to repaint them. You feel energy without ignoring your gut. You know that peace isn't found in a person, it's protected by your choices. You are magnetic when you're grounded. Irresistible when you're clear, empowered when you're honest, and unstoppable when you trust your worth. Let this be the day you stop making exceptions for half, loves, for maybes, for almosts. Let this be the moment you claim your space, raise your standard, and let the world adjust. Because you've tried it the other way, the overthinking, the proving, the pleasing, and it didn't work. It left you empty, tired, resentful. This time it's different. This time you're leading with self-respect. With intention, with power, they'll notice the shift, they'll feel the distance, and some will try to return. Not out of love, but because they can no longer control your attention. Don't be fooled. Distance reveals character. Watch how they treat you when you stop handing them your access for free. The more you honor yourself, the more the universe honors you. Opportunities flow, relationships align. You stop chasing and start choosing. And what you choose reflects what you believe you're worthy of. So choose wisely. Choose love that doesn't make you abandon yourself. Choose peace that doesn't cost you your voice. Choose presence that's mutual, not performative. Choose a life that honors all of you, not just the parts that are convenient, and most of all, choose you every single time until it becomes your default, until it's not even a question, until your presence, your heart, and your energy are only shared with those who are truly ready. Because you're not asking for too much. You're just finally refusing to accept too little.